Welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking a little bit about the world of private client services at Al Tamimi and Company. Our private client services offers a full range of private client needs, requirements, including but not limited to family businesses, high net worth, immigration, family law, family office setups, corporate structuring, joint ventures, basically anything that a private client would need across the region. We're very proud of this department at Al Tamimi and Company because we are the only local and regional law firm with a bespoke private client services team. And that team consists of 7 lawyers, but of course we work with colleagues across the departments and across various practice areas in 17 offices across 10 jurisdictions. I'm Dipali, and this is my colleague, Senior Associate Ali Zakaria. So we in Private Client Services are going through a very exciting moment. Revolutionary changes have been taking place, and it is really the most exciting time to be a private client lawyer in the region. So Ali, can you share with us the latest sweeping changes that have come across the region?
Actually, there is a revolution in the field of personal status law, especially for expats and also for people who are citizen and resident in these countries. Starting with KSA, they have released the first codified personal status law in the kingdom. There was no codified law before that. So this will help the practice to be more organized and be more understandable to other lawyers from other countries, and will help other lawyers to practice the family law and the personal status law in the kingdom.
And of course for individuals to also understand their rights and obligations.
Yeah, everything is like codified and organized so they can read what are their rights and obligations. Other than that, the Emirate of Abu Dhabi is making a great work in the field of personal status and family law, especially for expats. They have issued a new law that addressing Muslim expats and non-Muslim expats. It's also presenting the civil divorce, civil marriage, civil wills, a new way to distribute the asset of someone who died without the will. So a lot of offerings from this new law that we have been practicing for like 1 year now, and we are seeing a very good results with it, and it's very convenient and understandable to our clients.
Now, Ali, there is one point that us lawyers always get very focused on, which is the actual law, the legislation, the piece of legislation. But what I feel is revolutionary about the Abu Dhabi law is that there is an implementation of it via its own court. Could you want to just say something about that court?
The civil family court is like a separate court or a new court that have been established in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, which is not as the same as the normal personal status court, which is for Muslim and nationals. So the new civil family court have the different way of procedures and way of litigation. The procedures are very straightforward, are very fast. All of them are online. You can register a will online. You can file for marriage or a divorce or whatever you want to apply for on this in this court online. So it's making it easy for actually all the people who are resident in the UAE.
It's a digital court made for the digital era in which we live. One of the other concepts as a private client lawyer that we need to be cognizant of is the history of personal status matters in the UAE. For example, prior to these laws coming into force, Sharia was and still in places like KSA, Qatar, and other places across the region in which we operate, it was all based on Sharia principles. And there were some changes in 2020 which were considered revolutionary because people going through a divorce were able to ask the law of the place of marriage to apply, and people that had died, the heirs were able to ask for the law of nationality of the deceased to apply. Now, that was very problematic.
When it comes to application.
When it comes to the application, because what people were expected to do was, in the case of their country, the law that they were trying to apply, having a codified law, they would have to translate that entire law, legalize, attest it, a very lengthy and costly process. And then when it comes to the personal status court, before the judges, it's the onus is then on the personal status court judges to apply a foreign law, which is another very difficult thing to implement. Coming back to you, this Abu Dhabi law and the Abu Dhabi court with its own judges is really a theoretical and practical strong change. Are any other Emirates following Abu Dhabi?
Consequently, there is a federal law that have been released, which is being enforced in the 1st of February, which is a civil personal status law. But the difference between this law and the law of Abu Dhabi is it's only addressing non-Muslim expats living in the UAE, but it's offering the same offerings or have the same similar articles to the articles that have been stated in the Abu Dhabi law. So it also offers civil marriage, civil divorce, civil wills, a new method to distribute the estate in case of death without a will. And also it has a fast track of procedures. So now personal status cases should not be submitted to the family conciliation before being submitted to the judge. So this will make the litigation process faster and more efficient to the litigators.
A very important concept, which is actually familiar to many expats that come from Western countries, is of course joint custody in the event of a divorce.
Yeah, joint custody is one of the main challenges that are facing fathers in the region and in the Arab world in general, because the visitation rights are somehow minimal in this region. So joint custody will give the chance to the father and the children to have equal time spent as the mother. So it will help the children to be raised equally between the mother and father, which is in the best interest of the child.
Yes. And as well, a very important point to note, and really goes to show how revolutionary these changes are, is the introduction of the no-fault divorce, which still is not in many Western countries. It was only introduced in the UK very recently.
Yeah.
So the no-fault divorce, do you just want to quickly touch upon how that works?
It's also a unilateral divorce, which any party can apply for a divorce without the need to prove any harm or any damage done by the other party. And it should not go to the family conciliation department before going to the judge. You have only the case manager preparing the case for the judge, and within 2 to 3 hearings you have like a divorce,
a judgment,
the divorce judgment.
Yes. And the point really about no-fault divorce is that you don't have parties fighting. It's trying to avoid a situation where you have to throw mud at each other because you have to prove the harm. And that means bringing evidence to show harm, which
may help them apply the joint custody in an amicable way also.
Yes.
After divorce.
Exactly.
Depending that this law addresses succession planning and the probating process and wills.
Yes, the concepts of Sharia, where heirs are given set percentages and in particular males are given double females, is not in this law, which many expats will find a lot of comfort in. First of all, you have full testamentary freedom to register your will under this new law, and you also have a default position so that in the absence of a will, 50% will go to your spouse and 50% will be split equally between your children. In the event there aren't any children, it will be split equally between your surviving heirs. So it is another great step. It follows the Abu Dhabi position.
So with these provisions, the expat will be more comfortable when they move to the UAE because they know how their estate is going to be distributed in case they died without a will.
So that was a snapshot of the changes that have taken place in the last couple of years and the ones that are to come out on the 1st of Feb. Please feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. We'll help you to digest things a little bit easier. Thank you so much.